Hello again from Scouse Farm, and bizarrely I'm back on the same road. The video I released yesterday was of that church you can see there in the background, the Christ Church in Egbert, or Toxteth Park area. But a friend in work, Nadia, who I'm trying to convince to start her own YouTube channel, as she found something for me a little while ago, and it turns out it's a house of significance to a little theme I have on the channel, where I talk about some of the history around World War II, and Liverpool has a long association with things during World War II, such as the Liverpool Blitz and lots of damage to the city from German bombardment. But in this case, it's more of a positive one, which is nice. It's always nice to have a little positive aspect to such a tragic thing as war. But in this case, I am on Linnet Lane in L17, so it's Egbert, but pretty much on the border of Toxteth and Egbert. And at number 19 Linnet Lane, during World War II, 42 Jewish children were housed at number 19 Linnet Lane after being rescued from mainland Europe, from Germany, during the onset of the Nazi regime, spreading large and wide throughout mainland Europe during the 1930s. And in 1938-39, something was put together called the Kindertransport, which was a rescue effort which took place in the lead up to the Second World War. And approximately 10,000 children were brought out of mainland Europe into the UK. And in this case, some of them ended up here at number 19 Linnet Lane. And this Kindertransport program, it was mainly to rescue Jewish children who were going to be persecuted and sent to concentration camps, etc. And most of them who did come here were Jewish and arrived in the UK from Germany, Poland, Austria, and what was then known as Czechoslovakia. And many of the children, obviously, they had to be separated from the parents, which is terribly traumatic, but they needed to be rescued because we all know what happened and the fate of people back in the old European mainland during the late 1930s and early 40s was not a nice one. So a lot of them were very, very happy to be placed with some of their own family if that was possible, but unfortunately for a lot of the children who were repatriated, they had to be placed in foster families or in hostels, which is where I am now, at what was a hostel. And this Linnet Lane hostel was given a memorial or a commemoration plaque in 2018 to commemorate the actions of those who brought those kids over. And the kids in question, I'm just going to let this car get out of the way, were from a Jewish grammar school in the Rhineland area of Germany, which was called the Yavne or Yavne school, if I pronounced it correctly. So I'll just go inside now because there's so many people walking past and cars and stuff. But it was known as the Yavne school, and I think all the kids who ended up here were from that school. And this was the hostel in question. A very large, beautiful house, which I mentioned all of the houses around here were originally from those of the wealthy merchants. But let's go up to this plaque. And that's what I'm here to see. Oh, it's a bit high like, but in commemoration of the 42 children who were housed here as part of the Kindertransport program following their escape from Germany in 1939. And again, I didn't know anything about this, and it's with great thanks to my friend Nadia for letting me know. And I was here yesterday filming that church, I didn't even know, which is ridiculous because I'm back down this way anyway today, but I could have done this yesterday. And I will leave a link to the article. There's an article in a newspaper about the program itself, and there's a first-hand account in there about one of the kids wrote or mentioned, and his name was Siggy Reichenstein or something, and he listed a lot of his feelings. So there's a bit of first-hand account from the time when they were placed in here, because a lot of the younger kids, they went to benevolent foster families, but the kids, like in Siggy's case, I think they're like late junior, early senior school age teenagers, so they were able to be placed together and kept together in hostels like the one you've just seen. And the Kindertransport program in the UK was headed up by Sir Nicholas Winston, or at least he played a predominant role in it, and there wasn't much known about it or mentioned about it until he mentioned it himself on an interview in 1988 on a television program called That's Life, which was a popular television show in the late 80s, early 90s. Not too sure if it's still going, because for those who follow the channel will know I do not own a television. I don't watch television, so I haven't got a clue if it's still going or not, but it was popular and I do remember it from when I was a younger person. And this Sir Nicholas Winston, he did mention it during that interview, so people started then looking into it a little bit more about the UK-wide Kindertransport program. And I think Sir Anthony Hopkins actually starred in a biopic of the life of Sir Nicholas, and it was entitled One Life, and it was released in 2023. I'll just walk you down here while I'm talking to get out of that main road, because some of these houses, honestly, they are fantastic. But that program or biopic, I'm not sure if it's a film or some sort of narration by Sir Anthony Hopkins, but I might try and find it and have a look at it to see what it's all about. And yeah, it's entitled That's Life, and it was released in 2023. But I'm finally happy to have got at least in part positive story about the Second World War, because the fact that Liverpool and other cities in the UK and other families in the UK lent a helping hand and provided sanctuary for people who were fleeing the regime at the time, that is a good little story of humanity, and yet another feather in the cap of those who were involved in it. And not being a historian, I don't know too much about the program in and of itself, but I'm quite happy to see that a lot of us in this country and in this city got involved with it. And it's super cold today. But if anyone else has heard much about it, just drop something in the comments below. And then if you've got links to other articles about it, because again, I'm not too sure about where it started and how long it carried on for, but I'm sure there's a lot of articles about people who were involved in that program who stayed in the UK and then got jobs here or built a life here, and it happens all over the world. It's not an unusual story for people who get sent to other countries to put down roots. Because I do remember the video I did about the prisoner of war camps in Huyton, where I'm currently living. So there was people who lived or were housed in the prisoner of war camps in Huyton, who then went on to marry locals and have great lives in the UK, which is always a nice little story, from tragedy to happiness. Right, I'm in the next road, so I'm going to go back to where I am. And thank you all very much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Hopefully you've got blue skies where you are, because I don't where I am on Scouse Farm. We'll see you all again soon.